family or hobbies and interests and things like that, but we need to talk about, topics that have potential to reach a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we started out in our business with our short form agency, is with that strategy in mind, because, hey, that'll reach the most people and that'll result in the most viral videos, and viral videos is what we want, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was what I thought the goal should be. But what we kind of teach now with our clients that we work with and consult for social media is that if they are in a business, like for you, right, for example, I would say 70 to 80% of your content needs to be around that niche
Mm-hmm.
of teaching and coaching speakers and trainers.
Right.
And then the other 20 is for your audience to make that, do I like this person? Can I connect with them? Can I relate with them? Those are the, pictures of you and Richard on a vacation,
Yeah,
or a video with you with your girls or your hobby farm,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's the connection stuff. So we kind of flip that, like, get super niche with the majority of your content, especially if you need to generate profit and bottom line money to your business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just stick around the niche. And once we made that change with ourselves and with our clients, we saw probably like 10x the results in terms of revenue and actual return on what we're doing for them.
And how much of that was because of CTAs, or how much was that, because just of the resume being
So
viewed?
for CTAs, for calls to action, we actually don't do calls to action inside of the video. What we will do is just give the value in the video. And then if we leave that flexibility in the CTA for the caption underneath the video, the text under the video. So when you go to post it, you're typing in the text, use that area as your call to action. And what that does, it gives you the flexibility to change different calls to action if they're not working. Because if you made the video, now you got to reshoot the video. You can't change the CTA.
Right. Good point.
Right. So that's kind of our theory around CTAs right now. And what's working really well for us is like comment or DM a keyword.
Are you using
Right.
ManyChat for that, or do you just stick to Go High Level?
So we don't manage ManyChat or Go High Level for our clients, but yes, they do use that.
Okay.
That is what we recommend. Either or. Go High Level recently came out with a feature that is essentially ManyChat.
We fired ManyChat. Love you
Yeah.
guys, but Go High Level does it all now.
that's what our clients like Colton Lindsay, for example. They use the GHL ManyChat type feature, and his is always comment info or comment new or comment feature, whatever in the comments. And then, we'll just see, 8 to 10 of those on a post.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
if we did a good job with the actual content in the video.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So if it performs well, you're 8 to 10.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And his audience size by comparison, like, is that a good ratio that you're seeing? Like, if you have an account and you want to see 8 to 10, what do you need to have before you can see 8 to 10 of those come through?
Well,
Before that's a good number, I
would
should
say people with smaller accounts, you want to lean towards giving that value to your audience first before you make any ask, right? Like, at least start putting out some content, 5-7 times a week, and give some value to that audience before you insert CTAs.
Yeah.
What was your
Well, I was just asking about, like, when should I feel like 8 to 10 is a good number?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if I have
Okay.
1 million followers, 8 to 10 feels really small.
I mean, it depends on your business, right?
Right.
You got to reverse engineer your business for what amount of leads you need on a monthly or weekly basis. And, if social media is your only marketing channel, it's just organic videos like that, you got to work backwards. Well, how many leads do I need to make a sale? How many sales do I need in my business to hit my goals, right? So it depends on, it's kind of a ratio. It's relative, but like for Colton, he has around 40. We've gotten him to almost 50,000 followers now. And
That's awesome.
For our average video right now, our average is probably 10 to 15,000 views. But then, on any given video, I mean, how many leads does he have, Mickey? Like, it could be anywhere from 5 to 20 in the comments.
That's great.
Which is something we've more recently figured out in probably the last 90 to 120 days. Before that, we were getting, it was very slow.
Yeah.
But then we changed made some of these tweaks around his content, and it's just taken off.
What tweaks did you make? I'm curious.
Well, the biggest one and the one that I mentioned earlier was just what our content revolved around, and we
Yeah.
were trying to go with like more of a wide view on what Colton does, like personal development and
That's what I was
psychology
curious
and
about.
emotion and things that
Yeah.
everybody can relate with.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, does that matter if we're not connecting with our ideal client that's entering his business that he can actually impact?
Yeah.
So we switched and went very narrow and niche to, real estate strategies and tactics that he used as an agent. And for those of you who don't know, just to give some context, Colton Lindsay teaches real estate agents. He coaches and teaches them how to scale their business and create agent attraction networks, residual, brokerage networks, and scale from a few $100,000 a year to 7 figures.
And he's
right?
great at it. I've had him on my show before. He's an incredible guy.
so-
You guys should check out that episode.
So we just went super niche on what does his ideal client actually care about and what matters to them in their day-to-day business. And then we started talking about those things and getting really technical with like, the techniques or strategies he uses, things he did or mistakes that he sees these people make on a daily basis in their business. Like we kept it very related to that. And once we did that, we did some other small things that I'll go over, but that was the biggest change. And then another one is we started doing, so with videos, like we kind of use a technique that's similar to what copywriters use, right? So you have hooks and you have a story, like Russell Brunson teaches hook, story, offer. So we kind of flip that. It's for us, it's hook, story, or context, and then payoff or solution, right? So once we started using those niche topics and then using that format, we started to see a lot better results. And then we started adding not only good hooks in the beginning of the video that Colton speaks, but then we would actually add a text hook, almost like a news headline, and we would frame it in like more of either a fear-based kind of frame or a curiosity frame. So there's two methods for you to grab a viewer's attention. It's the words you're speaking, but then also it could be the words that they're reading on the screen in the beginning. And a lot of times if you just put captions and you don't create a title, like a hook title, the first word you might say in your video is just the. Well, if somebody sees the on the screen,
doesn't even faze them.
It's not capturing, but if there's like a 2 lines and there's like a couple numbers in there and it's in color and it has this like almost like a news headline feel, they're going to stop and it's going to give you another opportunity to grasp someone's attention.
And I know it sounds like you're talking to a room of kindergartners because like for me, I'm like, well, duh, but the implementation it messes with us as creators sometimes. It's just like I didn't realize that the words that appeared on the screen at the very beginning either would make or break a video.
Yeah, and that if you're struggling with social media, what you have to do is you just have to become enlightened to some of these things, and you start to figure. If you just you get the proximity to people that know what they're doing, right? Like we paid thousands of dollars to mentor with Ryan McGinn, and he shoots videos for Grant Cardone, Chris Crone, like all these guys in this space, right? And he's really good at going viral. So I paid him to get proximity so I could figure out what the heck is he doing that actually makes these work for his clients. And so like you might see these videos like with the captions and the color and these different things, but you as the viewer, you don't understand the back end of it, that we're like putting a lot of time and thought into how this is put together to grab your attention.
Part of me is like, I want to understand and I want to know the psychology. And then part of me is just like, just shoot the stupid video and get it posted. Like,
but the thing is, it becomes easier as you start to get enlightened to the process and the format that works. It just becomes like Colton now will make recommendations to us. He'll be like, hey, we should like try this hook or we should do this next time because it worked really well. So it's just getting proximity to the people that know that and then you start to learn the process and it becomes like clockwork.
So, what do you think of? I was wondering specifically about Threads. I've been experiencing a lot of fascinating things on Threads, and I have a couple of hypotheses. I don't know if you're deep into that world or not, the whole Meta / Twitter baby that they had, but
Sure.
we've run our own Facebook ads. I've been on Facebook since basically it started. I think my Facebook account is like 20 years old now, which is crazy. It survived the MySpace.
I think I got in at like 2009.
Right?
Maybe, so.
Like we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, barely,
Right.
but whatever.
Yeah.
So Threads has been a fascinating beast for me because it doesn't seem like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't seem like the algorithm has really sunk its teeth in. It seems like Threads is still aggregating data and behaviors because on my feed, I see stuff from people that are big names in the industry. I also see stuff from people whose contacts I have in my phone. And I also, the rest of it is stuff that I have either talked to like with my phone in my pocket because my phone's listening to me all the time.
Right.
Or it's...
the NSA is listening to us.
Oh, yeah. Between you, me, and the NSA. This is a digital forensic analyst right here, so he knows everything.
There we go.
Or it's like, if podcast Threads has been one that I talk about a lot. And so every thread that's not a friend of mine or a popular leader in the industry usually has the word podcast Threads, unless I talk about something else that week. And so it's been fascinating to me because these ones that are coming up, they have like a like and no comments, or 3 likes and some comments mixed in with these super viral posts. Do you know anything about what's going on with that?
I'm not a Threads expert by any means, but I will say that it makes sense that you're feeling that way and you're feeling that way about the growth of Threads because it's a newer platform, right? And we've seen this happen with all the platforms, right? When they first start, everyone has this potential,
it's the Wild
this
West.
super growth, viral potential, and then eventually they start to monetize and allow people to advertise on the platform, and then the algorithm starts to lean towards, okay, now we're going to make money from this thing, and then the growth phase is kind of over, right?
Yeah.
So I would imagine that with Threads, you're probably still in that growth phase. I think TikTok, it has been the last few years. It's kind of slowing down in that regard. But I would say that that's probably what you're experiencing is just that beginning. So, if you're on Threads
Sticking
right now, I've used Threads. It's not something that I use a lot. I actually use like Facebook statuses for text type posts.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we'll take those and turn those into video topics.
Yeah.
Kind of like Hormozy does with Twitter. I've just never been a Twitter or Threads guy.
I can't get into Twitter. I tried. It's just it feels full. It's like you're talking about. The algorithm got a hold of it. It's been monetized. And there's this blessing and a curse when a platform gets monetization going because it leaves the people who haven't grown kind of in the dust a little bit.
Yeah.
But it also helps us because if we're leveraging the platform and putting ads out there, then we can use that to monetize.
True.
So,
and the thing is, even though that growth curve might be slowing down for some of these platforms, there is a way to still continue to grow. You just have to learn it.
Yeah.
Right? It's still there. There's still opportunity there. It's not over. Now it becomes like you have to start leaning towards, okay, now I need to become a professional at this.
Well, and that's what I wanted to chat about because a lot of the people that are entrepreneurial are wearing all of the hats. Right? They're wearing the marketing hat. They're wearing the sales hat. They're wearing the content hat. They're wearing the editing hat. They're wearing the you paint the walls in your studio hat. Like everything, right? So we have a lot of industry experience in what we do for speaking and facilitating and teaching speakers, but our business is relatively new. Like our company as an LLC has existed for a while, but we burned down every other project basically this spring and focused on it. So it's in its infancy, and a lot of other people I know are in their infancy.
Sure.
So what do you do where should you focus if you're brand new to this and you're like, I am just not an expert in, and I don't have the money to pay somebody to hire on yet. And what do we do if my specialty is to speak from stage?
Right.
And I am shit at Instagram.
Well, there's kind of 2 methods of attack, right? And it is very budget restrictive, right? When you hire people to help you, it's just manpower and they have to get paid for their time. So
They
it's,
do.
right? So
And that's worthy.
so there's
But if they suck, that is also bad. I've thrown money away on stuff like that
true.
too.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a big problem that I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, there's the DIY approach. I'm gonna learn it all and do it myself, or there's the hire the expert who already knows how to do it. But if you can't afford how to do that, you gotta do the DIY.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, it's just gonna take time. I see business owners hire or try to train VAs or maybe an assistant or social media manager, and that's fine. And that may be a cheaper route than going, a full agency.
Right.
But it really just takes. I think it's more of it's not about what you do. It's more of a mindset that, hey, I'm gonna figure this out. It's just a matter of like, where do I get the information and who do I need to get proximity to?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, invest in yourself in a small way that you can, that's budget friendly to you, that gives you the information you need to go start implementing those new practices. That's going to start to change, move the needle.
Yeah. Yeah. Buy a $29 course. That's a low risk, high potential return.
And there is good. I mean, just go search these platforms and follow the industry leaders and see what they're doing. Like,
I think what I'm hearing you say is it's a value that I ascribe to actually, because you're going to put your time or your money into it.
Yep.
You got to do one or the other.
Yep. You are, if you go the DIY. So here's what I tell business owners that can afford it, right? That can afford to hire an expert. And I've had real conversations with clients like this that they weren't clients yet, but they were like, hey, I think I'm just going to go to the local college. I'm going to hire a kid, and then I'll, for 6 months or so, I'll buy them the training that they need and train them into this role to be my social media expert video person, right? I'm like, okay, well, you could do that. And then they're like, well, yeah, I had someone, but then they left after a few months, so I got to go get someone new now. And I'm like, okay, so how much time did that cost you?
Oh my gosh!
So you had somebody for 3 months, they quit and left, right? And then for this new person, how are you going to go find the best information and training for that person if you don't have the context of the industry and what works? You're an expert. We work with a lot of real estate agents, or like team, they have a team of agents underneath them or whatever.
Right.
Are you going to take the time to learn how to be the expert, or where was I going with that? Gosh dang it.
Well, you have to rehire the cost of hiring someone and then losing them, and the cost of retraining someone. And you don't know if it's going to work. Is the training you bought going to be even good training? Like you're kind of a fish out of water.
Exactly. Here's where I was going with that. Your highest return on investment activities are, if you're a real estate agent, that's buyer and seller appointments and booking phone calls to put agents on your team, right? Sales calls or sales conversations.
Yep, and that's any industry.
It's not posting videos to social media or learning how to become a videographer and learn all this equipment, or learn how to become a Instagram algorithm expert. That's not your highest return on investment. So if your business generates the revenue that allows you to go hire an expert who already knows how to do it, it's a no-brainer, right? And this is something this is one of the most profound things I learned from Chris Crone is like, you have to get really ruthless with your dollar per hour and the activities that you do, right? And the things that don't generate that highest dollar per hour return, you got to outsource them, delegate them.
And the part where I have pushed back on that is total lifestyle management.
Sure.
And I agree with the business portion of that, where I need to farm out or delegate, in other words, my lower dollar per hour activities. Like I have VAs that do a lot of work for me. I will thank Heaven forever for Heaven. She's the name of my VA. Shout out Heaven if you're listening. We love you. Like she's incredible. And at the same time, I take on stupid, dumb projects that don't pay me squat because I love them.
And that's totally fine. And I could totally relate with that, right?
Yeah.
Like I just made a post about this, how I left my passion for hunting, and that was like a segue to business, right? but I'm still gonna hunt. I'm still gonna find time to go hunt and enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah.
But I just recognize that my pay is the enjoyment that I'm getting out of it.
Yes, that's
It's
the
not-
ROI.
It's not the money.
No.
Right. So you're still getting an ROI.
Yeah,
It just depends on
exactly.
what your goal is and what the outcome or result you want. Right?
Yeah. And maybe there's some parts in my business. I don't know. It falls into two categories. It's either I have an ego and I'm not willing to let it go because I think someone else will mess it up, right? Even though it's a lower dollar per hour activity, right?
Yeah.
Or
But if you want it done right, don't do it yourself.
hire an
right?
expert.
Yeah.
Hire an expert. So that makes me think about Threads. So this is probably one of those dollar hour per activity, whatever. I haven't quite figured it out yet. So
it's working for you.
it's fun as hell. So I make a post on Threads. I should show you my Threads account. So in fact, I'm going to pull it out right now because one is going crazy. I have my Threads account, and this happened by accident. I made a post on Facebook, and I did not know that Meta copied it to Threads. I was like, oh, that was weird. And I started to get thread notifications on my phone. I'm like, what? I forgot I even downloaded that.
Automatic?
I must have set the setting or something.
yeah.
I didn't know.
I didn't know they did that either.
I didn't either. I watch your threads. So I have this thread, and this one, I pinned it. This is from August, I think. It has 522 comments. When I posted that,
That's a lot of comments.
I had 42 followers. 42.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
what was it about?
Okay, so check. This is the sickest thing ever. So I said, if you want to get on more stages, I have a list, 500 shows looking for guests. I'll send it to you, no charge, just so you can get your next booking. Just drop a comment. So my CTA is the comment, right? Now, half of these comments are me responding to their comments, right? So I'm saying, hey, I'll get you that list. Just text the word podcast to my phone number. I'll send it over, right? I do this once a week. And I get between 5, so I just
Tons
posted
of
it
people.
yesterday, 77 comments and going. It'll go for about 3 days. And then I've got some other stuff, 11 comments, 323 comments on the last one, 0 on a regular post.
Yeah.
That gets nothing. That got nothing. That got nothing. That got nothing. But every time I post this podcast database, see, there's a post with me and Keaton.
Yeah.
You'd
Yep,
think
I
that would
saw
go crazy. Nope, nobody cares. Not on Threads, right? I love you, Keaton. It's not your problem.
Nobody
it's my
cares
problem.
about his muscles.
This one, 494 comments. Every time I freaking post that,
Oh my gosh.
it goes crazy. And here's what I want to get back to is
Yeah.
I love, there's this little dopamine hit that I get, right? Then when I'm responding to all of these comments and I'm saying the same damn thing in every one,
but
here's
it's
the
working.
database, go get the thing. And Richard would probably argue that look at him getting his mic ready, that it's a very low dollar per hour activity, but
Drives
it's
me
like,
nuts that you spend your time doing that.
I know it drives you nuts, but
I
I'm
want
just
you
like,
to offload that to our VA so bad.
I know, but it
But
gives
you're
me
getting
this-
you're getting all the returns. It's working.
I get that
It's
it's like-
good for your business. You enjoy it. You're getting the dopamine hit from it. Like
yeah, I mean, yeah,
it
you
totally
enjoy
makes
it,
sense.
so
Yeah.
I'm not pushing super hard, but the
Right?
day that enjoyment dips even a little bit,
yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
Because
It's
you
like-
spend hours responding to
it's
those
more fun than
comments.
Candy Crush. I'm
Sure.
dead
Oh,
serious.
yeah, the responding to the comments for sure. You could, yeah,
It's fun as hell.
yeah.
I
But
love
that's
that.
also what really connects people with you and brings them into your world and your sphere, right?
And so that's why I wonder, is there
And especially
ever,
if they know you personally reply to them, that means a lot to people.
yeah, and that's what the part of me that doesn't want to hand it off to a VA.
Yeah.
Because it's personally me. Now, a VA could take my account and do it, or create a clone account and do it there, or whatever. There is a workaround.
Right.
But it is so fun. Okay, this is the crazy thing that happened. We had a podcast workshop where we launched podcasts. It was just a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. It was just last week, actually. And we had this, we did it here at the house. And so it was very intimate. And this lady sitting at my table, and I was asking, how'd you find me? She's like, I downloaded your podcast database. And I was like, hot damn.
And that
Hot
just,
damn.
It just speaks to the effectiveness of understanding what your ideal client wants.
Yeah.
And that's a truth across any method of social media. If you understand what your audience wants and your ideal client wants, that's the key. That's the hack
Yeah.
or the secret, right? If you know, like, just give them something they really want. And that's what you were talking to me about, like the lead magnets, right?
Right.
It's like, just figure out what is it that they really want that solves a problem for them in their business or in their life.
And it takes
then-
so much trial and error to do that.
And then look how much,
How much fun we have.
yeah, exactly. How much success you have with that from posting on Threads.
Well, I almost want you to pick apart my Instagram because I know I'm doing it wrong. I am just like gunshotting the internet with
Well, that's,
everything I possibly can.
but that's better than nothing too. And that's sometimes you have to take that approach when you don't know what to do, is just try a lot of different things, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at it a little bit before
Oh, break it apart for me, please.
today.
Yeah.
I do like that the thing as far as the bio is concerned. I love that your face is clearly visible in the profile picture. I think that's important. I think it's important that you are very clear in your bio about how you help people or what problem you solve for them, which yours is pretty clear.
Good. I rewrote that sucker like 100 times.
Yeah. Then you have a link to, a way that people can connect with you or dive deeper, right? So that's perfect. As far as the videos go, you have a lot of videos, but some of the views are pretty low, right?
They're really low.
Yeah.
Like,
and
bad low.
I think
I'm
that-
judging them. I love all my views, all 12 of us.
Yeah. Right. And it's not to say you still can't make money from those views or accomplish whatever goal. If it's not making money in some other goal, you could still accomplish it with those views. But to me, right away, what comes to mind for me as far as your video success is probably not using what we would call like the viral format for your videos. And
You're saying to do that or not to do that?
to do that.
Okay. That's
But
a
it-
second witness to that list.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me what you
just
mean by
don't know
viral
any better.
format.
And if you need to post content, you're just gonna you need to post something that's totally fine.
Yeah.
If you're starting out, but if you're getting low views, it's probably the symptom is probably a bad first 3 seconds of your video.
Okay.
So you need to really get focused on creating great hooks that grab attention in the first 3 seconds. And the problem with that is what I see on some of your videos is that they're just cuts from other things, right? So maybe this podcast, you take a cut and you just, how are you editing those? Is someone-
Opus.
Opus?
Yeah, Opus is
Clip.
amazing.
Does a lot of them.
Yeah. I QC check them
So
before
Opus
I push them out.
takes a segment of the timeline and it'll turn that into a 1 minute clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We view it before it goes out, so it's not just like a minute
yeah.
of dead space or something like
Sure,
that. But
sure,
it's
yeah.
it's doing
You
a
want to
lot
make sure
of that.
you have a thought, right?
Yeah, we'll have a
Right.
complete thought in the clip before.
So the
we post
next
it.
step after you figure out that you have a complete thought in a video or a clip is rearranging it or making sure that you have a viral format that contains a hook in the beginning to grab attention, a great story or context on whatever problem or topic you're talking about, and then a payoff or solution or a why this matters to the viewer at the end of the video. And when you just cut a 1 minute segment from a longer clip, it's very unlikely that you have all those pieces. And not to say that you can't have success clipping viral clips from a longer podcast episode, which you totally can. But what works the best, even in that scenario, is when you rearrange it to fit that format that I just described.
I've taken pieces of like that 1 minute complete thought, and I've taken the middle like mic drop moment
Yeah.
and moved it to
To the front. And that's
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, it's very, yes, that's basically what we do for hooks, right?
Okay.
We try, and it becomes easier when you shoot short form video with the intent of you only using that for short form video.
Yeah, I think
It's much easier.
yeah,
right?
as you've been talking, I've been thinking about our talk tips that we post on our podcast and how we should
Yeah.
take the talk tip, record the 10-minute version for the podcast, and then make it a sub 1 minute.
Yeah, if you shoot it dedicated for the platform or the type of content, it's going to have a better result, right? You're tailoring it to that short form video
Yeah.
style,
Oh, I hate that you're right.
right? Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because of time.
Exactly, right? It's more work, but you're going to get a better result. But yeah, I would say to me, what stuck out right away is probably following that format and then really working on good hooks. And the good hooks will grab people, right? The story or context will keep the retention and, sustain the attention throughout the video, right? And then the payoff or the solution at the end is what is going to cause them to share the video, make a comment or engage. And that's really what you want. Like to us, comments, shares, and engagement have become much more important than views, right?
I
And
agree with you there.
speaking in terms of like viral views, what makes a video go viral oftentimes is that you kept really high retention rate from the beginning to 50% through the video.
Okay.
Like if your retention's like 70, 80, 90% on that first half of the video, it's gonna the platforms are gonna push it and it's gonna go viral.
I wanted to ask about comedy specifically.
Okay.
Everything I send to Richard, well, not everything, I would say 80% of what I send to Richard in my Instagram DMs is because it's funny.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I
that's,
can relate with that. Yeah, for sure.
is that an important element if you're creating content? Do you have to like learn to be funny?
Well, I think it's about knowing yourself and your own personality and then knowing your audience, right? Like
Yeah.
if your business teaches people and educates people, but you're not naturally funny, I wouldn't say it would. Richard might argue that Marianne's not naturally funny, maybe.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Am I not natural? I think I'm hilarious.
I would just say you lean towards your strengths, right? And if you can teach people in a funny way and then that's what your audience enjoys, I think that's totally fine. I don't think it's
give
a
myself
must.
pressure. Okay, that's a relief because
Right?
I've been like the moment I'm like put on the spot to be funny, I'm like,
Yeah, it's got to come naturally, right? It can't be like staged or forced.
No.
oh, thanks.
But you can motivate, you can entertain, you can educate,
yeah.
or you can like inspire, right?
I love what
So-
you're saying because this formula, this 3-step formula, and I feel like a dummy when you tell it to me because this is exactly what I teach people when I'm
It's just
teaching them to speak from
copywriting.
stage.
It's just copywriting.
It's the engagement.
It's storytelling.
It's the story and it's the call to action. Now I teach them in a 10-step formula for a 45-minute, but I teach them how to condense it for a 2-minute. And then I'm sitting here with you like freaking duh. Why
You're
wouldn't
like, yeah,
I use
already
the
use
own
this. I already do this.
freaking formula for the Instagram videos? Okay, I'm learning. Fine. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense.
Okay, so here's the other question. As a social media agency, do you have your own social media account that you use to market your own agency? Or are you like, no, we are just the guys behind the scenes that everybody knows and we get talked about that way?
So I've been doing social media for my own businesses prior to having a short form agency for, 7-8 years or something like that. So
Yeah.
I had already had a little bit of a following, but I sometimes I don't take my own advice, right? What I tell
Because you're working
clients,
for somebody else.
what I tell clients is that we should use their personal account, even though it's for a business, because people don't want to follow a logo and a company.
Yeah.
They want to follow a face and a name.
I'm doing that right.
Yes.
I got that
That's
down.
great.
Okay, good.
Me personally, I like to have the freedom to just talk about whatever the heck I like on my own,
Yeah.
and also not worry about having to offend people that might be potential clients. So I keep mine. I will talk about my business because I have several businesses. So I talk about those things mixed in with the content that I care about and that I'm just interested in myself.
Sure.
But then we have a dedicated page for our agency
Right.
that we only post, tips and tricks and insight like this.
How is it?
So-
How is that account doing? Is it working? Are you getting the follower
Um,
count engagement that you? Because here's why I'm asking. It is way easier for me to clean someone else's house, right? Like
Yeah.
for some reason we do a way better job cleaning somebody
Right.
else's house because it's all fresh stuff and it looks great. But my house, I hire out for that. So, like, is it the same thing with media content? Are you producing results for your clients that you're like, yeah, we're proud of this. This is really good. That we're getting expectations, and then my own is like, I just wonder.
I mean, lately, I'm hyper focused and concerned with how my clients' accounts are doing, to be
Yeah,
honest, for the
yeah.
most part. I do, like, we will shoot dedicated content, once a month that we can post on our company account. And then
Yeah.
I'll have call to actions. I'll have a link that has, a page with social proof and all those things in a funnel, right?
Sure.
And I will do collab posts where maybe on my personal page I posted something about video or some kind of content around social media
Mm-hmm.
and how to get better at video or social media, and then I'll tag or collaborate with my business account
Yeah,
and post
yeah.
it together. So that's kind of what I do.
Well, and I was just talking to Deb Gabor, and if you haven't met her, I need to make
Mm-hmm.
an introduction because she is a brand specialist. She just gave me a few of her books, and One of her books is called "Branding is Sex: How to Make Every Client Want You" or something like that. She's hilarious. I love her. But she and I had a discussion about knowing where your clients are in their life when they need you, like what's going on in their world. So it sounds like for you, your clients are at the point in their social media where they understand that they need to grow. They understand how to generate the revenue from it. They need your help with how do I get the calls to action? How do I make hooks be a thing? And how do I make videos be effective? And the way that it sounds like you get found the most is by people like Colton, who are incredible, saying, hey, listen, you got to meet this guy.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Right now, the majority of our business comes from referrals. And I like to keep it that way because I want to be selective with the clients that we work with.
I think that's wise.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it almost has more of a premium feel when, you kind of almost have to be recommended by somebody or like have a referral and qualify the person. Because to be fair, to have a team of like 3 or 4 guys that are working on your social media, which we do, full time or part time as an agency, as a bolt on to your business, it costs a lot of money. So we have to make sure that our clients are just as qualified as we are in their own regard, right? That it makes sense for us to work with them because we want to produce results and we don't want to we don't want you to waste your money and we don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we can't create results and we don't have the right mix of circumstances.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the last thing I wanted to touch on was this. We have been through the gamut of hiring different agencies and we've hired PR agencies, we've hired social media agencies, we've hired all the people that you can imagine to try and help us grow with varying degrees of success. And that's been the challenge gosh, we made an investment and we don't feel like anything happened.
Yeah. And that's the number one problem with video marketing and social media agencies in the world right now is there are a dime a dozen. There's tons of them, right? Social media in the last 5 years, there's been so many social media marketing agencies. It's ridiculous. But finding one that is results oriented and can produce results and show you proof of results for a client they've worked with, that's what's becoming uncommon. And before I even started really trying to expand my business or grow and scale, results was like my number one fixation is like, we have to get results because otherwise we're just going to pump people into a system that doesn't work and it's going to give us a bad name and it's going to give our clients a bad experience. Mm-hmm. So like we spent 8 months working with Colton on his account until we made those changes and started to produce results and really dial it in and figure out what the heck we were doing. And then we're like, okay, now we feel comfortable. Let's offer this to some more people.
Yeah.
Right? Then
was he kind of your guinea pig?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I had worked on social media accounts in the past for myself and other clients.
I mean, you had proof and concept, right?
But for the short form agency specifically,
Yeah.
him and a couple other clients in the beginning were our main focus on it, tweaking and figuring out like how the heck do we do this in a way that's sustainable for clients and for us.
Yeah, that's what I love about what you mentioned is that we stuck with it until we got the result, not just by terms of contract or whatever.
And kudos to Colton for sticking with us until we could figure it out because he could tell he knew I would figure it out, but he had to give me the time to be able to do that, right? And so it's hard to sell like a 6-month commitment or a 12-month commitment to a client that they don't know if you can get results or like, hey. I've worked with paid advertising agencies in the past, and they're like, well, it's probably going to take 3 to 6 months for you to start seeing a return on ad spend. Mm-hmm. Well, as you guys know, as a lot of business owners, they can't afford to wait 3 to 6 months for results.
They need revenue now.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, it's the number one problem in the agency space right now is agencies that can actually get results, and it's one that was my main focus until we started to grow this thing is like, we got to figure that out first.
So how are you ensuring all your clients get results?
So here's the thing about working with an agency and making sure that they can create results for you is they need to speak in the language of a business owner, right? And what is that language?
Well, it's revenue, it's KPIs, it's
Yes.
critical drivers, benchmarks, milestones, check-ins, chain of command. How are we doing? Like all of that.
100%. So we track that stuff, right? And that's our goal is not views and brand presence and brand awareness, because what does that mean to a business owner?
It's a breath of fresh air. Everyone thinks that's what they need, and it's just not.
Yeah, well, yes, you need it, but it's used improperly.
That's
It's
not
it's
the
a term
goal.
that's used improperly.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that's not the
Like
end
the
result.
the goal for a business is to generate income, right?
Right.
So that you can have money, time, and location freedom, right? As a business
Yep.
owner. So you have to find an agency or work with a videographer or a social media person that speaks in that language of business and understands marketing, copywriting, and business. And it's very hard to find that trifecta in a video person who's good at, they might have the best equipment and know all the latest camera settings and fancy stuff, but what does that mean to a business owner that's trying to make money and bottom line profit?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So we speak in the language of, hey, how many leads did this post generate? How many booked appointments came from our social media in the last 30 days? How many of those were converted to sales? Were those sales enough to cover what you're paying us as a service in bottom line profit, not in revenue?
Yeah, profitability. Not
Because
just revenue.
here's what I learned working with paid advertising agencies is they'll tell you a ROAS, but then you're like, they're talking about revenue. But 75% of that revenue might be expenses. And that ROAS is about a fourth of what they're saying it is. Right? So these are all the things that I've through experience and just figuring it out and learning these different parts of business and marketing, it just helps, me and Mickey and our team and our agency get results.
Good.
So,
Well, I have to say, if anyone's looking at hiring an agency, first talk to Michael. Second of all, whoever you do hire, make sure that they come to the table with those numbers. If you have to extract them or if they don't have them, pass.
yeah, they need to
Hard
have
pass.
They need to have social proof or client testimonials, or they need to be able to tell you, hey, here's how much I improved this business and by what metrics.
Yeah.
Or here's how I helped this client grow and what did that lead to for them as an outcome.
Yeah. And if it's not tied to revenue, for me, I'm not interested.
Yep.
I don't care how shiny my car is if it's not making me any
Yep.
money.
And once you build a business that generates a ton of revenue and you're profitable, then you have the freedom to go, okay, now I want to build brand awareness.
Yeah.
Or now I want to do things that maybe don't generate the leads, but they're fun and I enjoy them.
Exactly. You have some slush fund money at that point.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do people find you? I think you had a giveaway for everyone that you sent me a link for, right?
Yep.
We'll put that in the
Yep.
show notes. Tell everyone what that is.
Yeah, so we have a link to a PDF in the show notes. It is 50 customizable hooks that are pre-written for you for business owners.
So if you're like me and you suck at hooks, this is going to be really
Yeah,
useful.
so you can basically plug and play. What this really does, it's going to give you an idea of how these hooks work and how they should be framed. And then you can manipulate it to fit your business or whatever you do, whether it's speaking or coaching or training. This stuff, it'll still work for you. So there's a free PDF there. And then if you want to learn more about us, you can go to createandlead.com/work with us. And then they'll see client testimonials and social proof and some of that stuff.
Awesome. Oh, I love that. Okay, we'll have everything in the show notes.
Yeah.
You guys could download that PDF. It's free to everybody. Go check it out. Try those hooks on your stuff. I'll try it with you. Maybe I can get some more good traction. Because here's
For
the
sure.
thing. All of us as entrepreneurs, we love what we do. Hopefully, if you're an entrepreneur, that's why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Right? You have such a passion for what you do. You know how to fix tables, or you know how to help speeches, or you know how to fix drains, or whatever it is. You're doing it because you love it.
Yep.
And you should be able to continue to do it because you love it and help people see you and help people find you. Whether that means learning how to do these things yourself if you're just starting, or finding the right agency to do it for you.
Yeah.
Don't kill your passion because you suck at delivery.
Yeah.
That's
for sure.
Oh man, please don't do that to yourself.
And yeah, for those of you that are newer to Marianne's audience, make sure you stick around and get proximity to her. She's a wealth of knowledge and has been a huge inspiration for me, and had a huge impact on me that first event that I went to where you were on stage. So we will definitely be providing more value to your audience, maybe on a more private level.
Sure, yeah.
Just given more in-depth look at some of the stuff that we're talking about. So,
Yeah, I would love that. And we might just have you on as a guest in some of our the Mastery Hive that we do on Wednesday. It'd be really awesome to have you on, especially for the digital stage presence. That'd be very cool.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that Colton brought us together. I'm glad that event brought us together at
Yeah.
the beginning. Guys,
Yeah.
go to events. This is how you meet the coolest people.
I quite literally wouldn't be here if I hadn't gone to that event and Marianne wasn't speaking on that stage, because that led to me meeting Colton Lindsay. He got sat next to me by coincidence.
That's how that happened?
And
No
then now
kidding.
we're in he's been a long-term client. We're in business relationships together. And then he introduces me to you, and now I'm here on your podcast.
That's freaking awesome. I
Such a
love
cool-
that.
Yeah, it's just such a cool
You just
testimony.
never know. Go to events, guys. Pay the highest you can for that ticket too. Get in the best rooms as you can. Mike, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for
And
having
thank
me.
you for being here and doing all the video in the background. Appreciate that, Mickey. And Richard, you're the best. Thank you for
Yeah,
helping
thanks,
with
Richard.
everything. Guys, this is for the Marianne Hickman episode. We will see you on the next show.
Awesome. And say goodbye to the live people.
Oh, we got live to work. Hey, guys.
There we go.
Don't worry,
Awesome.
I'll cut this up into really amazing content for you. But guys, go check out Mike's stuff. This will be posted on YouTube and Spotify, Amazon, wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. This is going to be everywhere. All of the show notes will have that free PDF. So this will probably be dropping, about 4 weeks, Rich?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so watch for that. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube or any of those platforms, go subscribe and follow. So when this episode drops, you can get those links and maybe